What's up? So today we got King of the Hill, Season 1, Episode 5, Luanne Saga. So this episode starts off with Luanne, Bobby, and Peggy. Actually, it starts off with Luanne and Peggy doing this exercise. And Bobby joins in. And Hank's like, turn that off. Because Bobby, you shouldn't be dancing. And then Luanne says, it's not dancing. So then he goes into Luanne's room and falls. He's like, Luanne, this used to be a den, and now you're messing it all up. And she's like, Buckley's so gonna marry her. She's gonna marry Buckley, and then she's gonna move in with him. Remember Buckley? He was the guy from the pilot who didn't understand what Hank meant. Yep, they're finally giving him a name. And, I guess he and Luanne have been dating for a long time. Even though he and Luanne's status hasn't been mentioned until this episode. So she says about how she's going to be moving from her parents to Hank to Buckley. I guess it kind of represents how all those people, how Luanne is naive so much, is that she thinks that all those people are like her dads. I don't want to imagine that thought. So then Hank and the gang are just sipping some beer until Buckley shows up. And they're annoyed about how his motorcycle engine revs up too much. So then Dale says, Hank, why you let Luanne date that guy? And he's like, she's not. He can't make a choice. She's not his daughter. So then Luanne shows up, and they all watch as Luanne and Buckley drive off, and until they stop, and he tells Luanne to get off, and unaudibly tells her that he's breaking up with her. Yep, this is a breakup episode. So Luanne comes in crying and leaves. And this obviously annoys Hank and Peggy helps her. Peggy helps her out, and Hank tries to do all his work, but he can't. But he can't get it done because Luanne's crying. So then the Mega Mart ad comes on, and Peggy tells Luanne she's pretty twice, and then Hank tells her to bottle up her emotions, so she feels sick, but she's not sad. So they eat some cookie dough together, and reminisce about all the things she hates about Buckley, about the fact is that he didn't want to be caught didn't want to be caught sharing his food with her. And how he wouldn't want to share his food with her, so she had to get some iced tea. So Peggy's obviously mad about this and says, Hank, you should really let Luanne do stuff on her own. But Hank's like, no, I got this all covered. So at the date at this place called Ugly's, weird name. It's a hold down restaurant where you know who shows up, i.e. John Redcorn, and he asks Dale if he could borrow Nancy, which Dale unknowingly says yes to. Dale, this dude is stealing your wife. If you didn't know that, you would be punching him out by now. John Redcorn is the worst character. I have nothing against him. It's just that his whole running gag of the show is that he just wants to get with Dale's wife, and Dale is so oblivious to the fact that this dude wants to get with his wife that he allows the dude to get with his wife. And he's been doing this for 12 years now, apparently. This dude's been sleeping with his woman behind the... So anyway, of course, Hank meets a guy. John Redcorn is in this episode. I absolutely dislike him. He's one of my maybe maybe he gets better later, but for right now, since his running joke is basically he wants Dale, he wants to sleep with Dale's wife. I don't like him because he wants to sleep with Dale's wife. Yep. Okay, I want to put that in. Yeah, his whole deal is that he wants to sleep with Dale's wife. And I don't like that he wants to sleep with Dale's wife because John Redcorn is the worst. So Hank meets this guy named Wade and obviously thinks that he's perfect for Luanne. So when Hank gets home, he gets a thing about Peg. He gets a little bit of a judgment from Peggy, where he's a drug trip about he gets a drug trip about Peggy and all the women in history. Yep, and Hank gets a drug trip. So meanwhile, it's revealed that actually Luanne got driven in by Boomhauer, not Wade, and when Hank questions her, he's like, I wanted you to go with Wade, not Boomhauer. And she's like, as soon as you left, he got too grabby. So Boomhauer ended up taking her home. So he's like, no, but I want you with Wade, not Boomhauer. I want you with Wade, not Boomhauer. And she's like, you're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do. And she's like, as long as you're living under my roof, you listen to my rules. And I'm gonna tell you, and I tell you not to date Boomhauer. And she's like, well, I don't have to listen to your rules anymore. I'm gonna live with Boomhauer. So he's like, fine. So, and then Dale's like, oh, this is like Miller's place. And then we see John Redcorn jumping out of the window after he slept with Dale's wife. You really had to make a Melrose Place joke and show one of my least favorite characters right now getting with Dale's wife. Yep. So anyway, yeah. So Hank decides to clean up his den because now he doesn't have a Luanne to bother him anymore. He thinks now is the right time to clean up his den. Meanwhile, Buckley, there's a scene where Buckley shows up and tries to fight back for Luanne, but Hank tells him to get out of there, and that's what causes the whole scene of Peggy finding out what Hank did. But yeah, after that, Buckley is gone from the episode. So anyway, So anyway, Hank and Peggy and Bobby are at this place. And again, there was this funny scene where when Hank and Boomhauer, when Luanne wanted to move with Boomhauer was like, no, I didn't say anything, but that was a funny scene. Dang on, I didn't say anything. That was funny, but that was still a funny scene. But anyway, so they run into Boomhauer. They run into Boomhauer and Luanne, and Luanne tries to talk to Hank, but Hank isn't listening, and Boomhauer tries to talk to Hank, but Hank isn't listening. So Boomhauer's like, I'm sorry, Hank. I hope we're cool, but he's like, Boomhauer, I got nothing to say to you either, Luanne. So next shot, we see Luanne crying, and he's like, oh, did Luanne get broken up by her boyfriend Boomhauer? And she's like, no, he got. And then Peggy whispers, no, she got broken up by you. And then she's crying about you. And then he's like, what did you say? And then Bobby repeats, she got broken. She said it. And you're the reason Luanne's crying. And, so, yeah. So Luanne goes to, so the episode just ends with Luanne going to pick up her stuff, saying, I love you, Uncle Hank, and then crying. And then that's how the episode ends? And then we get a end credit scene of Boomhauer, of them welcoming Boomhauer back. Like, did they allow her to move back in? Is she still with Boomhauer? What's up with the ending? Nothing happened. She's just like, I love you, Hank, and then that's where the episode comes to an end. Nothing comes to fruition. We don't know if Luanne and Boomhauer break up. We don't know if Luanne ever gets back with Buckley. No, she just said, I love you, and that's the closing episode. Wow, what a way to ruin the ending. Ending to a pretty good episode, because this episode was pretty good, but the ending just makes no sense. She says, I love you, Uncle Hank, starts crying, and then the episode ends. We don't know if she moved back in. We don't know what happened to her. We don't know whatever happens to her and Boomhauer's relationship. We don't know what happened to her if her and Buckley get back together. Nothing. Nothing happens. Just, she says, I love you, and then that's the episode. That's the closer. For a pretty good episode, that was a really bad ending. I'm sorry, I just don't like the ending. The ending makes no sense. She says, I love you, Uncle Hank, and then the episode just closes. Like, we could have said, we could have had a scene where he welcomes her back. But no, she's like, I love you, Uncle Hank. And then bam, credits. Give us something, episode. Give us a good ending. But no, they decided to end with I love you, Uncle Hank, and then credits. Then we got a Hank face, and then credits. Yep, for a pretty good episode, not a good ending. And then we get a post-credit scene when they welcome Boomhauer back in. So what happened? Did he and Luanne break up off screen? We never find out. We know that Boomhauer dates other women in later seasons, but what happened to him and Luanne? Did they break up? We'll never know. We know that Luanne will probably go back to dating Buckley, but as the episode, who knows? But yeah, that's the end of episode 5. A pretty good episode to a pretty bad ending. I'm sorry, I just don't like the ending. The ending just is weird. We don't even know if she moves back in. Like, she just says, I love you. She goes to get her stuff, says, I love you, and then bam, episode over. We don't even know if she moves back in. Like, also, that Hank drug ship scene was a weird one. So anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time when we review episode 6 and 7 of King of the Hill. Can't wait for episode 8 and 9. But anyway, episode 6 and 7 of King of the Hill. Can't wait for episode 8. But, yeah, that's what happens when you review this show. You just get into it. But, very good episode. I gave this episode a 7. Very good episode, but very misleading ending. See ya.